Hey, how's it going? I was running a bit late. That was all for just for effect. I just thought I'd do the running dive to make sure I was here. Hope everyone's really well. Welcome to whatever day this is. What is it now? Does anyone know what day it is anymore? It is Tuesday, June the 30th. Hey, hey, hey. Hope you're all well. Hey, Sienna Vardy. Hope you're doing well. What a day, what a day, what a day. It started and now it's getting to an end. Tuesday, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope everyone's doing pretty well. There's been some big news happening around the world over the last 24 hours, particularly here in Melbourne, where I am from. They've put us back into lockdown. So they've gone and stripped our freedoms away from us again. But you've got to look on the bright side. We can move forwards with positivity and love and make a big difference to this world anyway. I have some huge news for later on in the program, but you guys are going to have to stay tuned. 20 minutes, I'm going to try and make this one go. Not 45, not 33, not 22, 20 minutes I'm going to try and stick to. So if you see the 20-minute mark tick over, tell me to get off, please, because we've got other people waiting to have a bit of a chat to you guys later on. Again, I made some notes here, so I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the things that I've got here. Interact. It's always great when people are interacting as well. So please do interact because then we can have a really great conversation flowing throughout here. Hey, Darwood. Hope you're doing well. Got out to some of the hot spots today as well, so I'll let you guys know about some of those places too. Now, I'm going to go into some of my notes here and let you guys know. I'm going to have a bit of a chat. The first thing I wanted to talk to you, how did I go today? Pretty well, Terry. I'm going to get to that one. I'll definitely read through a few things and then get, I could start with today's. I'll start with where I went today because some of you are tuning in just for that. Surprisingly, your suburb 348 wasn't included in the list. Let's have a look here. No, it wasn't. And I'll let you know some funny things about that as well. Your Meadow Heights, I think, David, if I remember. Hi, Violetta, best ice cream in the world. Support us. Advertise on our group if you like, Viennetta Ice Cream. Hello, Rita Douglas. Hope you're doing well. Staying positive, grounded from here. Now, I was going to talk to you guys. I will flip it around. I'm going to talk to you first about the places I visited today. So today I ended up at Mordialloc. So Mordialloc has 5G running. And the whole main strip along that Mordialloc area on the Pean Highway is off the charts, higher than 20 milliwatts per meter squared. I don't know how high it actually would have gone to, but it was very, very high. And, you know, the building biologists are still saying between 1 and 10 is not really acceptable, but they'll take that. This was huge. So, yeah. It was pumping along at about 20 plus milliwatts per meter squared. And that for me is a big concern. That was at Mordialloc. Sorry if I have a lisp. I bit my tongue. I was eating too quickly for my lunch, but that's another story altogether. Now, the next one that I went through was Edithvale. Now, that's a really interesting spot in Victoria. So that is saying it's got 5G turned on. So you're meant to be worried about it and whatever else. But when I went through Edithvale, the readings were really low and I could not find the 5G tower where it said it was. I drove in circles, I had a really good look at the beach, and I was like, I can't find a 5G tower anywhere. So it's a bit of smoke and mirrors when it comes to where these things are in their locations, I think. So I found a tower eventually in Aspendale, but doesn't really go into Edithvale. So watch for these things. If people start getting unwell in Aspendale, they'll say, well, we have 5G turned on in Edithvale. Well, where is it? Because I had my meter on and I couldn't find it. There's no towers, there's no anything in Edithvale. So a little bit confusing, and I really looked. I can see things, and I could not see one. The next place I went to was Braeside. Now, someone here was talking about Braeside. Braeside is off the charts. So Braeside has 3 towers within about 3 kilometers, and they're all way above where they should be. I don't like that a lot. Way above where they should be. And you should all be a little bit concerned if you live in the Braeside area. The interesting thing with a lot of these 5G towers is they're putting them right on traffic lights as well. So places where people sit. for quite long periods in traffic jams and whatnot. And you've got this 5G pumping over 20 milliwatts, and it's non-stop all day. Now, Terry Pappas, where you say your son works right under one, working right below it is actually better than working 100 meters away, as crazy as that sounds, because you're not getting hit by the beams. These beams are beam tracking beams, beam forming beams. And people say, you know, you've got to be very careful, because what they're saying is 5G is amazing because we can beam it straight to your phone. Well, I don't know if I want this beam getting pointed right at where my phone is. I would rather have a bit of radiation spread around for all, rather than beam forming straight at me. That's just my opinion, and that's where I think the military side of it's a bit scary as well. Now, so as I say, Braeside was quite big. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit, and I'll do this now, I'll segue into it. And I am rushing a little bit because I have 14 minutes exact to go before you guys tell me to get the hell off here. Now, today in Melbourne, they've closed down, they've locked down Postcodes. Now, we could see it coming, so we pretty much, I told you guys maybe last time, it's a bit hot in here after that entrance. I told you guys maybe last time that we can pretty much track where they're doing these things and where people are getting sick by where they're turning on 5G, wait a month and a half to 2 months, and boom, people start getting sick. It's not because COVID causes the sickness, but something weird is going on where these things are getting turned on and played around with. Now, the places that got put into lockdown today in Melbourne, I'm going to read through them. Postcodes. 3038. So that's generally, hi Sharon Bellinger, hi Andrew Visser, hi Malcolm Clark, hi Lisa Port Ritz. Postcodes that got locked down today. 3038, Keilor Downs. 3064, Craigieburn. 3047, Broadmeadows. 3060, Fawkner. 3012, Brooklyn. 3032, Ascot Vale. 3055, Brunswick West. 3042, Keilor Park. 3021, St Albans, and 3046, Glenroy. Interestingly, all of those except for Glenroy and Ascot Vale are where 5G got turned on by Telstra. All of those except for Glenroy and Ascot Vale is where 5G got turned on by Telstra a month ago. That is pretty telling. Now, the other two areas are on the borders of places that have 5G turned on by Telstra. Glenroy has 5G turned on by Optus. So do some research and you quickly find, this is like a bunny with one floppy ear and the other one sitting up. I think I'll just go with it. What you'll quickly find when you start researching these things is the 5G network does not cause coronavirus, but the 5G network is turned on and untested on human beings and causes all kinds of fuckery within your body. That's my opinion. That is a scientific note. I'm not a scientist. I don't think they use the word fuckery. I'm not taking it off Sienna. So I'm just thinking, if we look at these suburbs and we start really thinking about what's going on here, they're segregating. Remember we talked about division, people versus people. It's almost like the Hunger Games. David Icke talked about it, this segregation of people from each other. And people are getting scared and concerned and worried. People are crying. Myself, I was a bit down earlier today. But you know what? We can take action against these things. And I'm going to put forwards an action here. And I hope you guys share this feed and get it out to as many people as possible. But what I want to do is start a protest. And I want people to come along to it. And I don't know what day we're going to do it because they're closed now for a month, supposedly. We could do it every day. But I want to ring around a suburb. Like ring it off with people. Because the way this lockdown works is certain areas, you'll be in Broadmeadows on one side of the road and the other suburbs on the other side of the road. And the suburb divide is down the middle. So over here, these are the lepers that are sick and dying. And over here are the Happyvilles. I can go play tennis and I can go for a walk and I can do all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, happy, dying, COVID-19, can't leave my house. My thought process is, why not come over on this side of the road and make a chain of people all the way around the suburb? Just along the road, chain around the other side, chain around, and protest against this lockdown because it's a draconian measure that makes no sense. Because a virus doesn't know borders. A virus doesn't understand what these borders are. And you're locking down suburbs. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, here we go. Dayward says people in Broadmeadows are arguing with the people in Meadow Heights. So the people in Broadmeadows are being locked down. The people in Meadow Heights are not locked down. They're across a freeway from each other. It makes no sense. So let's set up a chain of people and surround this suburb and protest against it, because it makes no sense for me to be standing over here and be COVID free and able to live my life, and you in that suburb are going to be locked up in your house, going through the psychological damage that is not right. And fake stream trying to make an autonomous zone. Exactly right. So the fake stream media makes no sense at all. So we can literally, because we're allowed out, we're allowed to go outside. There's no COVID-19 rules for us now, as far as I know. We can form a protest right around a suburb and look in at that suburb and say, we're here with you. We are here with you. There won't be a divide at all, because we're going to be the happy people on the outside of the road. But what we can do is stand there and make noise and say, you don't deserve to be over there at all. You don't deserve to be locked into that area. So we'll just make a protest in a chain right around this area with facts and figures as well, to say, we don't think that it's fair that you guys are getting locked down in these suburbs, which is effectively hundreds of thousands of people, for maybe 150 positive COVID-19 tests. And out of that 150 or whatever it is, positive COVID-19 tests, how many are false positives? Probably half, because that seems to be the trend worldwide as well. Now, on the news, they do a different narrative. Stay away from these people. Don't go into these areas. It's going to be a strict lockdown. We're going to have the army involved. And they're saying we're getting false negatives. There's false negatives coming everywhere, so it's probably more people are sick. Well, I call bullshit, because there's been false positives the whole time. The guy up in Queensland that died and got told, his family got told he had COVID-19, and they're like, he didn't leave. He went from the mine to his bed, to the mine to his bed, to the mine to his bed, to the mine to his bed. No one came in with COVID or left. So let's have a real think about this. But my point of call is, I'm going to put together something that's a protest where we surround a suburb and we wave into these people and say, we are with you. There's no divide here. The white line in the middle of the road is the only divide showing here. There's no division between me and you. There's no division between my race, my religion, my suburb, and you. We're all human beings, and we all deserve to be able to do whatever we need to do to live our lives. And that white line in the road is not going to change this. That's exactly right, Rita. We can do exactly what you say. Have microphones, have gramophones, and stand on the other side of the road and call out to these people, we are with you. We are with you 100%. And they'll feel, if there's hundreds of us vibrating from love, we will help these people feel better, because they're not the COVID people. They're not the sick people. They're not the lepers. They're just the people that happen to be in a postcode that fits a narrative of what the government wants to do. So I'm putting this together over the next couple of days, because we're about action. We're not about words. Now, let me give you some figures here, okay? And let me know if you guys are in, because I'd love to know that you're in with this. Malcolm says, I'm with you, Matt. Rita said we're going to shout out things across the road. 100% positive energy. Sharon established the Coronavirus Act 2020 is null and void. The many reasons used, main one being of the act defines coronavirus as being COVID-19 or its other name, SARS. Yeah, exactly right. And people on that side will end up joining in the other side, and imagine the coverage and energy spread. Exactly, because our energy will go so far that we'll bring those people in as well. So Sarah's in, Rita's in, Darwood's in. All of us are going to line up, and we can get 1,000 of us there, and we can line up together and hold hands and call out to these people, you are not alone. We're still this. There's a divide in the road down the middle, but we're not getting pulled apart ever again. You guys can't do that to us. Now, let me read you some facts really quickly because according to my watch, I've got 5 more minutes. If you want me to go over this time, just let me know and I'll go over anyway. Here's a couple of facts, and these are big facts. In Victoria, the COVID-19 tests, out of the hundreds of thousands that have been done, 0.003% have come back positive. 0.003% of all the tests have come back positive, and yet we're locking down suburbs. Keep that in mind. Worldwide, 10 million people have COVID-19, supposedly. COVID-19. 10 million. 500,000 deaths. So the death rate of that 10 million is 0.05%. And yet, we're fucking locking people down, destroying people's households. Suicide rates are going up. People's mental health problems are going through the roof. For something like it's exactly the same as the common cold or the flu, and we're doing this to people. Giving the false reports of deaths, it's interesting to note, seasonal flu kills approximately 690,000 people. 690,000 people. 690,000 people a year. And that's a guess. I'd say it's more. This is why we're shutting everything down. It just doesn't make sense. Oh, crap. They're trying to shut me down, I think. So if this turns off and on, I apologize from my heart. I'm going to take off my jacket because it's getting hot. Whoa. I'll take off more if you guys subscribe to my page. No, I won't really. So that's the figures there that I've got that shows COVID-19 should not be taken seriously because the facts and figures that they're giving us are actually a joke. So if you think about it that way, if the facts and figures they're giving are made up and this narrative keeps on changing and we stay like this, the narrative can't do anything to us because we're connected still. And as I say, that border in the road won't make a difference. And I see you hear Malcolm Clark saying we need to think about social distancing. We just stand 1.5 apart. When I say a chain, we don't have to be figuratively touching each other. 1.5 apart, surrounding a whole suburb. Pick a suburb. Whichever one's smaller is probably best to start off with. So pick a smaller suburb so we get the first people in. We do our first protest of 600 people rounding a suburb, calling through gramophones saying we are with you 100% of the way. This white line does not cause division between us because we are going to make a big difference from our heart and we're going to vibrate and everyone's going to come together. So I think that's the biggest thing we can do as our first action plan. Now, I need to talk to you guys about something else, which is huge. And I'm going to type it in here. Now, our group, which my group is the Worldwide Unified Peaceful Action Against 5G on Facebook, on zamamo.com. Let me type it in here. Worldwide Peaceful Action Against 5G. That's our Facebook group. Worldwide Action Against 5G. I'm just building the suspense for the news. Does anyone want to know what this big news is? We could do a drum roll. Ask. So, and then our last one's actually on zamamo.com. Zamamo.com. So, the big news that we've had today. Yep, we're getting some yeses. So the big news. So we did the cease and desist letters and sent them out to people. And that was a big start. People thinking, you know, I've got to get my 3 JPs to sign it and do all my work with that. We also got letters sent to MPs and had letters sent to councils and wherever else. Some of the responses that came, actually all the responses that came back were pretty much cut and pastes. So they were not good at all. So when those responses came in, we said, hold on to them. Keep it if it's a letter or an email or whatever else. The exciting news is we then did a silence of acquiescence, and the silence of acquiescence letters basically said, because you didn't reply to our cease and desist properly, we are now going to, everything we wrote in our letter, we're allowed to do, which is basically almost taking down 5G towers. The next part of the action is the huge one. We're now doing and starting a class action. Now, our class action is huge. What we want people to do is send in your replies. Send in your replies to let us know what came back from when you did your cease and desist letters. And where we want you to send them to is class action 5G at unitedcollective.com. No, .org. Class action 5G at unitedcollective.org. What we want you to do is send back your replies. Tell us who you served it on. Tell us when you served it, and send it back into us, because we're going to get all those responses, and all those responses are going to add up to mean that we can do a class action against the telcos to get the 5G network stopped. This is a huge thing, a huge action that we're doing right now. Now, United Collective is the group that was started by Mon, Zev, and a few other guys. Now, Mon and Zev are still there running this group, and they're on Zamamo.com as well. They work hand in hand with us. We're like family. I consider Mon like a sister. Zev is like my bushy grandfather with the animals in his beard. They've got Yusha in their team, who's amazing, amazing person up in Sydney. They've got Rita, who's an amazing, amazing human being, one of the most caring, loving people that I know. They've got Sarah, who's hilarious and amazing as well, always looking for information. She's a real digesting, like reading and understanding everything. They're an amazing team. I've got my team, which is Leonie, who is just an amazing spirit, a spiritual, amazing person. Chantel, who's crazy, but gets everything done. Marketing is her thing. She's amazing as well. And then all my moderators, from the newest Heather to Carol, all of them, Matea, Cherry, all my moderators are amazing. I'll forget people. Joe, they're all amazing. Christine, they're amazing, amazing people, and they're all coming from here. So our vibration, if we sit in a room together, literally the roof blows off and all the walls fall down, and there's just all these love heart emojis coming out of everywhere. You got to be there to see it. I've already gone over 20 minutes. We are just, as a team, we look after each other, and we're trying to make a difference in the world. So what we want you to do is get out and share this, get as many people and of your friends to subscribe as possible, because what's happening right now with this class action is every letter that comes back, we want to get put into this class action. We want to make this thing happen now, because together, we can actually stop this. And what I wanted to say as well is we will organize this. We will organize. So I just got told I can stay for another 10 minutes. If you want me to stay, I'll find another topic. I've got another topic here that I wanted to talk to you about, but I was going to save it for tomorrow. I can talk about it now. I'll bring it up on my phone. Let me know. You want me to stay? Okay. There was a guy today, and I want you to go and sign up to his page. He was on our Facebook page today. Actually, while I look it up, I want you all to hit share. Share. Share this out everywhere. While you're doing that, I'll find my topic that I need for the next couple of minutes, okay? So share. I just want to see the share button. Boom, 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 boom. Share. Share it everywhere. And start talking to people about this protest that we're going to do quietly. So just like in the street, go up to someone, give them a hug and say, we're going to do a protest. Don't do that, because that's against social distancing rules, and we're all about social distancing here. But start talking to people and say, we feel so bad for what's happening in these areas, but we can make a difference. Collectively, socially distancing, we can surround a suburb and call out the most beautiful, loving things to these people and let them know they're not alone. We can play music. You guys can come up with some tracks. What's a track you would play to allow someone to know that they're not alone? Just think of something. There'll be a song. I don't know one. Share it in your family WhatsApp group. Thanks, Darwood. Hopefully I say your name right. Darwood. D-A-W-U-D. Darwood. Hey, Heather, Cyber Queen, legend. Heather's an amazing person. So Heather, who's here, is EHS, so electromagnetic hypersensitive. So shared on Twitter. Boom, Twitter. Heather is electromagnetic hypersensitive. She put up an amazing story on our Facebook group. Go and have a look at it, please, because it means a lot, like to have someone like that on the team who understands what it's like to suffer when these things are going on. So what I was going to tell you, there's a guy called Gary Fong. I'll type it here. Gary Fong. Gary Fong has a Facebook page. Now, Gary Fong, I love saying that name. Gary Fong has a Facebook page, and Gary Fong was a photographer, one of the best photographers in the world, a wedding photographer. Now, Gary in Canada, he lives in British Columbia in Canada. He saw that the 5G network was starting to get rolled out. He actually had friends that were working, doing the rollout of the 5G network. And yes, and he has a YouTube channel. Sorry, did I say that? I thought I said he had a YouTube channel. Maybe not. Gary Fong has a YouTube channel. So go and find it. I think it's called the Gary Fong channel, maybe. You'll never walk alone. We've got to play that as part of the process. So Gary has 150,000 subscribers. And did I say Facebook? Sorry. Thanks, Sienna. Lucky you're all over it. Like I need a Sienna in my life. So Gary Fong has a YouTube channel. And on there, he started talking about, in Canada, they said they were going to roll out 5G. Now, Gary was a photographer, moved into studying biology and virology, and through that, learned that something wasn't quite right with the rollout of 5G. Now, Gary's a really intelligent guy, and he started telling people on YouTube about what was going on. And his idea is to target one person. So the mayor of his town, he saw that the figures were out for what Canada says is safe. And he said to the mayor of his town, now, and he comes from a place of love and light and kindness and peace. And that's why I love the dude, because he's similar to what we're trying to do. So he went to the mayor of his town and he said, I don't think these figures are right. Can you please have a look at them? Peace. And gave it to his mayor. And the mayor walked away and said, it's what they say is right. It's regulatory bodies. And came back to Gary and said, this is pretty much what it should be. Now, Gary said, okay, no worries, Mr. Mayor. If people start getting sick, the liability is going to come to you, just for you. And the mayor backflipped and said, well, I don't want to take that on because it's not going to all be for me. I don't want to take all the liability of this. Aaron Brockovich did. Spot on. And we can all do this. We should all be talking to someone we've got an inside with in our council, in our suburbs. But the biggest thing is to take action. So I come on here and talk a lot, but I like to think that I do it from a place of love and care and kindness. And when I get away from here, I go and get paperwork done. I'll serve something to someone. I'll walk up to them. Anyone who comes past me, I'll give them the paperwork. I'll be like, boom, served. Boom, served. Like, you need to be able to back your actions. There's no use in standing and ranting and yelling and screaming and then doing nothing to back it up. So I feel like there's some huge opportunities here. I really want you guys to all get your cease and desist letters back in. Every one of you can do an Aaron Brockovich. Every one of you can be a Gary Fong. Just write Gary Fong on your hand, and it will remind you that you can do anything. One person, I call it the power of one. It's my favorite saying, the power of one. Actually, one of my favorite books. Thanks, Malcolm. One of my favorite books is The Power of One. It's about a young kid in South Africa growing up through apartheid and how he changes his world by changing his mindset. Now, all of you have the power of one, because one person's action is like a ripple effect. And what I keep on saying is, what about the people who didn't reply to a cease and desist? Brilliant. We want people that didn't reply. That's perfect. So what we want is you to send the email saying, I sent a cease and desist. And this is the power of one. Cyber Queen's doing it right here. I sent a cease and desist to XYZ. XYZ didn't reply to me at all. Send that into our email address, and then we say as part of our call, as our class action, this mofo didn't respond, and this person didn't respond, and this person didn't respond. And in the end, you've got so many people in a class action getting no responses, no consultation, no action taken to show this stuff is safe, that it makes a groundswell. And we take these people down because of what we're doing. So you can all make a huge, huge difference by doing this. It's the power of one. One person, one rock dropped in a river gives you a ripple effect that causes the whole river to change. And that's what we are. We have the power. We're powerful like water. One little thing leaking off to the side is going to change the way that river the system's broken, it must be 5G, is going to change the way that river runs. And you can all make a huge difference. And the people that sit at home and go, but I can't do anything, it's going to happen anyway, they're the people that don't quite understand the power of one and what you can do. All these letters and problems that we're causing for these people, what's going to happen is eventually they're going to fall apart, because what's happening is they're starting to talk amongst themselves. And I know this is happening. And they're starting to talk amongst themselves within government, within the telcos, within a panza, I can't speak. I give up. If it's a word with an R, I'm not going to say it anymore. Within a panza in these groups, they're starting to talk amongst themselves, and they're scared. So I'll give you one more thing that I had happen today, if you're ready for it, because I don't know if you guys want me to keep on going or if I'm just talking way too much. We've got some music requests for the protest. We've got Pump Up the Jam, love it. Tupac, we can definitely play Tupac. That will make you feel like you're there, Sienna. Throw a fridge. I'm not sure what that comment means. You want to keep on going? Okay, cool. So one more thing. Now I don't remember what I was going to say. It was super. It was probably the most amazing thing you were ever going to hear in your whole entire life. What was the last thing I was going to say? What were we talking about? Can I just rewind this? No, I can't do that. Thank you so much, Heather. That's really sweet of you to say. I can't remember what my train of thought was. I'm gone. And it was going to take the whole 10 minutes as well. How much you love. Oh, yeah, I love you guys all amazingly. Oh, I remember what it was. So today, I got a call from a panza. So one of our people on our page, as long as you guys are happy for me to keep on going, just let me know. Just give me a heads up that you're happy for me to keep on going, and that you're going to keep on sharing and getting your family and friends in. And thank you so much, Doug, for coming every night. So today, one of our users from one of our groups gave a panza my number to ring. So I got a call from a panza scientist. His name was David. And he rang to say to me, he thought he was ringing to speak to my wife. I don't have a wife, but her name was Jenna. And I was like, oh, yes. I didn't know what was happening at first, but I caught on pretty quickly. And I was like, oh, my wife, Jenna, she must have given you her old number, but I've got her phone now. And I was like, please keep on going and let me know what's happening here. So he said, oh, look, I can pass it on to you and then you can talk to Jenna. So he started telling me about the new 5G network and how people have concerns, but Apanza sets its limits because they know that everything's going to fall within these limits. And I was like, yeah, of course things are going to fall. I kind of cottoned on quite early that I knew a bit more than I gave on to. It's like, of course things are going to fall within the limits because your limits are 1,000 times higher than other countries. To which this guy said, well, other countries set their own standards depending on what they think, whether it's where the 5G is going to go into their body. And I was like, well, you're setting your limits based on just the heating of the skin. But 5G actually affects the cells, DNA structure, water. It has lots of different effects, oxygen at different gigahertz. And he was like, crap, okay, I'm not talking to just Jenna's husband, I'm talking to Jerry Fong, number 2. So he started going on about it, and everything he was saying was just exactly what you guys are getting sent as replies to your cease and desist. Now, as we were going through the conversation, I said to him, I know for a fact that the WHO, World Health Organization, works with you guys and works with INCRP, the International Body for Radiation, and you work alongside each other. And he said, no, we work independently. And I said, well, you're actually wrong because there's funding moving between the two companies and your executives move between the companies as well. And he said, well, you've actually obviously done a lot of study on this. And I said, yeah, I definitely have. So I know exactly where the funding's going and what's happening between them both. I think the volume's gone down. Can you hear me or not? Hopefully you can. Maybe Apans has turned it down. Womp. Please let me know if you can hear me. It might be your phone, Cyber Queen. I hope so. Anyway, I'll keep on going. So while we're having that conversation, it was really, really interesting to know where he was going to. So he started talking about with the WHO. I said, well, they show that in 2020, they said it's a possible carcinogenic. And he said, yep. It has come through as a carcinogenic, but it's not actually, it's not that it definitely causes cancer, it's that the testing was flawed. And I was like, so who put it up on their website even though the testing was flawed now? And he was like, yes. What happened was they tested it on some mice, but only the male mice got sick. But then the female mice didn't get sick. So that doesn't mean maybe the test wasn't quite right and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, the test was only done on male mice. There was no female mice in the test. That's why it was all male mice getting sick. And then it's just this ridiculous thought process. I could hear him flicking through sheets, chunk, 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 and reading stuff to me. And I said, wait, let's do some independent thinking because I can hear you flicking through sheets. And I said, I'm just sitting here talking from my mind. And I'd love for you to do the same thing because you're a scientist and you obviously know 5G is getting rolled out. And I said, is there a possibility that you can tell me, is 5G safe for human beings? Has it been tested on humans? Well, it hasn't really been tested on humans. Actually, in the military, it's been tested. I was like, yeah, I know that. At 95 gigahertz, it's used for crowd control. So they tested it on some human beings. And out of 4 human beings, 3 of them got second-degree burns. And he's like, okay, cool. Yep. No, so you obviously know it's been tested on humans. Yes, only in that wavelength, but not in anything else. So it's now getting turned on around the country. And he said, yes, but only at 3.6 gigahertz. And I was like, yeah, except it's at 3.4 gigahertz. And in Parramatta and the Gold Coast, they've actually already done up to 26 gigahertz. So we know it's getting turned on in places and it's being called a trial. So what do you say? Is it safe for humans? Can you guarantee the safety? And he said, well, us as scientists, we can't guarantee the safety of it because we don't do guarantees. But what we do is when it goes out there, we'll reassess all our regulations. And I was like, what the actual fuck are you saying? I didn't tape it because of the laws, but it stays here. I don't forget this stuff. And now it's out here to you guys in the world. So he said we'd relook at our regulations. Now, the problem with that is Apanza hasn't relooked or reassessed their regulations since 2002. Now, how many changes from 2G to 3G to 4G now to 5G has happened between then and now? And he even said when 3G and 4G changed, there was a change in how much was getting put out into the atmosphere and into the world, electromagnetics. And he also said EHS is not real. And I thought you'd like to hear that, Heather. He said EHS is not real. The symptoms aren't real. Because if you do a test with someone who's got an EHS, electromagnetic hypersensitivity, and you do it on a person who hasn't got it, and you test with a real electromagnetic and without it, that they still get their headaches. So it's made up. And I was like, I'm sorry, mate, but I just need to ask you, do you have kids? And he was like, yes, I do. I said, would you safely have your kids live within 100 meters of a 5G tower? And he's like, at 3.6 gigahertz, I would. I was like, okay, sir, would you have your kids sitting there with at 26 gigahertz, not knowing if it's been tested in a real life situation? To which he said, I quote, I would have to reassess and think about if I want my child in front of that 24/7. But this is our figures are done on short-term effects of 6 minutes. And I was like, you can't be sitting here as a scientist ringing and telling people that this is safe, and yet you wouldn't have your child sit in a tent right outside it for 24/7 with this going at 26 gigahertz. So I don't feel like thank you for calling. I'm sorry you didn't get my wife, but probably it's not a good thing to call my wife because I'm the nice one in the relationship coming from kindness and love. My pretend wife, she's an angry one. She's not going to like that. So yeah, we don't want 26 gigahertz where we can put something in a tent. We can put our popcorn in there overnight and have it pop by the morning. I don't think that's something we all want. So yeah, that's my last anecdote for the night. I hope you guys get out there and share this. I'm going to give you one more happy little joyous thing if I can, because I like to finish that way. I've got 2 minutes. Okay, just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to find something really sweet and prophetic for you. Let's have a look here. Where are we? I won't be long. I can give you a quote if you like. I'll do a quote to finish off. If I can find one. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. I'm so happy to be here and chatting to you all. Okay, it's only a really short quote. Are you ready? You are only limited by the limitations you place on yourself. You're only limited by the limitations you put on yourself. So you can be anything you wish to be. Now, don't go forward with this segregation that's happening in the suburbs. We'll set up our protest. We'll go and share love with all of those people. Come from a place of kindness and love always. Or no, without a doubt, we're going to get this 5G turned off. They're fighting amongst themselves. They're changing the narrative every day because people like you are standing up and making a difference. Peace and love. Ciao.